Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. What am I doing right now? I am taking down the prank that Full Symmetry done on, for reasons why you will find out in a moment. And while I was up here I just thought, I'm just going to start recording because I'm excited to record today. We are going to be doing a prank. You already know that because I put the prank on the thumbnail of the video. But I have some extremely exciting news. Well, I say exciting, for some it might not be, but for me I am actually really excited about this. And before we get to that, wow, I almost died even though I have haste 2. That was crazy. That would have been really funny if I'd have died right at the beginning of the episode. Yes, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you for your support on the last video. That one had 2,500 likes, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Because all we did was walk around and talk, but you guys seem to love it, so that's awesome. Thank you very much. That put me in a really good mood. I've just been reading the comments and I'm ready to record this one. So what is the big and exciting news? Well, hold your breath, hold your breath. We are going to be resetting the server. Now I know that that is a big deal to a lot of you. Let me tell you, I think it's going to be for the best. It's going to bring us all back together again because some people have drifted away from playing on vanilla. You know me, I never get tired of this game. I'll be playing on here forever. But, a reset, it has to happen every so often because people do lose interest, and starting over is always a cool thing. And I got to say, in the next season we're going to be doing some amazing things. I've got a lot of ideas for things that I want to do. I cannot wait to get started. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So yes, we're going to be saying goodbye to this world. We've been on this one for almost a year and a half, and we have just done some amazing things on here, like the wastelands, etc. And so I think it's pretty fitting that the time has come to move on. And the cool news, and that went over, didn't it? I can never get that right. The cool news about the new world is that we're going to be playing on the amplified terrain. Yes, it is awesome looking, and we've been taking some time looking at it and thinking about the logistics. There does look like there's going to be some issues with transporting around, but we think it's going to be worth it in the long run. So we think that we're going to give it a go, and we're going to play on the amplified terrain, and I am really looking forward to it. So what does it mean for the rest of this series, because we're going to be resetting this in about a week? Well, it means that the map download will eventually become available. It also means that there's not going to be too many episodes left. We're doing a prank this episode. We are pranking Zombie Cleo and Mumbo Jumbo, and then we're going to do a couple more episodes. There's going to be a race on the racetrack because we never got round to doing that. That thing isn't technically finished. There were some bits on there that needed finalising, but we're going to do a race on it, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to get together and do a little bit of recording, and as well as that, me and Tango have a secret project that we are... Did I just say project, or I said it wrong? I do that a lot. You guys know that. Ink Sanks, that's apparently how I say ink sacks. I put a little bit of an N in there, as you guys have corrected me. So what are we talking about? Me and Tango are going to have a secret project that we're going to be doing. It is something that is, well, actually, as soon as I was about to say it, I know someone else has done it before, but we're going to do something that is going to be pretty damn impressive for a vanilla server, let's say that. And so yeah, I decided to take down... We're not going to do them all now, by the way. I decided to take down the UFOs because when people download the world, I think I'd like them to see the landscape, the wastelands, as it was intended to be. But it was an awesome prank, and I really enjoyed having them here. Every time I stuck my head out of this area, it was always cool to see them. And I do believe I've talked about everything that I wanted to, so let's talk about the prank that we are going to be doing on Zombie Cleo. So we have a bit of a running prank war, I guess you could say. In fact, if you'd like to catch up on everything that's happened between us, then I'll put some links down there in the description box to the other prank videos and things that had happened. But it all started when I gave Zombie Cleo some cooked fish, you see. She wanted to tame some cats, and I said, all you need is some fish. I've got plenty, don't worry about it. Except the fish that I gave her was cooked fish, and she spent hours trying to tame the cats. Absolutely hours. Let's go into the Nether, because we need to head towards where we need to be to do this prank. It's all going to make sense in a moment. Some of you have probably already had that little eureka moment in your mind where you're like, I know exactly what you're going to do, because we're heading over to Guardfall, the Guardian Farm. I love saying that, Guardfall. What a cool name. I like it. Yeah, so we had this kind of running prank war, and one of the best pranks I've ever done was definitely, in fact, it was the best, filling up her aquarium with... I still call it the aquarium. Every time I go over there, I call it the aquarium. It is, of course, a museum, and I filled the entire thing up with water and turned it into an aquarium, and that was absolutely brilliant. But we are going to have the last laugh on this server with this little prank wall that we've had, because over here we have an excessive amount. I don't know why I'm looking in that chest. We have an excessive amount of fish, and so the prank that I'm going to do isn't anything too elaborate. We're just going to kind of take the piss a little bit and give Cleo all of the fish in a humorous fashion. So if we go over here, I haven't spent much more time since we were last here on a video. Look, it's doing that thing with the big hitbox again. Strange stuff. Can I get to that chest? Yes, I can. Let's aim there. So we have an absolute ton of raw fish. We're going to give it all to Zombie Cleo, like I said, in a unique fashion. And there's just tons and tons of the stuff. It's awesome. We're going to send it all the way over there. And getting it over there is going to be a little bit of a nightmare. What I'm going to do is make some minecart chests, put all of the fish into them, create a rail. That rail is going to go through into the nether. And I've got to be careful, like swinging like this. Actually, I don't have to be careful. We're pretty much God mode. Do you want to attack me? There you go. Come on. Yeah, it's easy, this game. Right, let's kill that guy and go into the nether. Yeah, so when we send the minecarts through the nether, all we have to do is have a track on the other side, just down here, to pick them up, and then we can send them through the nether, and we're going to, of course, send them all the way over to Cleo's area. Hopefully she doesn't log on. She's not on at the moment. I might actually just message her on Skype and find out when she's going to be online. Actually, that might kind of give away that we're doing a prank. Yeah, if I just message someone out of the blue and say, are you going to be on Hermitcraft? No? Oh, that's good. Don't come on. That is not going to work, is it? Okay, we'll just have to hope that she doesn't come on. Anyway, we've got some preparations here to do, and I'll be back with you in a moment. So I think I just counted all of these, and I think I counted 15, but I could have easily got that wrong because I wasn't really paying attention. I am in a silly little mood today. Are you ready for the fish train? That's what I'm calling this. This is the fish train. And I didn't mention what we're going to do to Mumbo, by the way. We are going to prank Mumbo as well. It's much a smaller prank. It's the sort of little thing that isn't really a prank. So I thought I'd do both of them today, but I've actually been wanting to do that since I started training with the villagers a long, long time ago, and that'll make a lot of sense when we get around to that. But let's focus on this right here. I think the best thing to do is the safe thing to do, and just... Well, that worked perfectly. I was going to comment on the fact that these probably would have all nudged each other and come down the track as well. And that was pretty good. Let's go on the other side and see where it turns up, because it's right there. That's okay. Yeah, I had this feeling that things could go horribly wrong today, but now I'm getting this feeling that actually it'll be alright. And so we're going to have to nudge these around. It might get a little bit difficult if we get loads of them through at once, but what they tend to do is group up and stay together, so they'll move along the tracks, and they might go really fast because of that. Hopefully they don't do anything crazy. But let's find out. I'm in the mood to do things, you know, and have fun. Not to try and make it so nothing could possibly go wrong. Let's just do this and shove all of them in there. Why aren't you moving? Why aren't you moving? What's going on? Come on, guys. There we go. Maybe I have to move the ones at the end for the ones further down to go. That's it. We're getting them moving now. All I've got to do is just kind of nudge them a little bit with my hitbox. And off they go. This is going to be slow, isn't it? It's going to be slow for me. It's going to be fast for you, because I'm going to do some jump cuts when I'm moving these through the nether. But there we go. They're going through one by one. I was thinking about using a furnace minecart at the end of the track to push them all along. But, I don't know. I had a feeling that might go wrong in the nether, because I'm not going to lay down the entire track first of all. We're going to do it. Well, that was them grouping up together, like I commented on. And they should all be there. Let's press F3. Is this going to give us any help at all? Entities 1. Am I really seeing that? That's kind of worrying. Is that just one of them? How could I tell? That's the one... That's the one that doesn't have a lot of items in. Oh, there they are. Okay, that's all of them grouped up together like I described. And when we look at that, we can see 14 entities. Has this now changed because of the whole rendering thing? If I look over there, we can't see any of the entities behind there. We can hear a ghast. That is actually a really big and important discovery. It's only the bits that we can see that we'll see entities for now, because it's not rendering what's back there. Even though you can hear there's a ghast, it is there. It's not being rendered. So there is a difference. But look at that. That affects the entity numbers. That could be both useful and quite annoying as well. Did not expect to learn something like that today. And there they go. And now they're probably going to group up with that one. Maybe not. Anyway, we're going to do it like this, section by section. And I think I was going to dig over the top, but they're back there now, so we'll just continue adding some track. Anyway, this next bit is going to be really boring. I'm just going to be putting down loads of rails, pushing them through the nether. If anything interesting happens, I will, of course, do some recording, but otherwise, I guess I will meet you over there. Well, this is pretty normal for Minecraft. Let's just check they're all there. 15. That's good, because I was in a little bit of a panic. I forgot to put a block at the end of the track here. And when I came down here, I saw there was nothing against this wall, and I thought, oh, don't tell me they've hit the wall and they'd just gone off in a random direction. That would have been horrible. But they have somehow found their way onto the track on this side, so we still got them. That was a little bit of a scare right there, and this thing goes over towards Cleo's, so that's going to help anyway. So Cleo has made herself a nether tunnel. Gotta say, it looks absolutely awesome. Let's push these things through. Off they go. Let's make sure they're all there. How many do we see? 15. That's great. That's good. This is going to be nice and easy now, I think. Let's hope everything is going to be smooth on the other side, and then we're going to be ready to do our prank. And I haven't actually given the details of what we're going to be doing just yet, so we are, of course, going to be doing that. And yes, these things make a right racket. What are they doing? There we go, they've stopped. That's good. So we are going to be putting all of these fish into dispensers, and we're going to be hiding the dispensers underground, and we're going to have it dispense the fish up through the ground onto the surface. So you've seen how those item elevators work. It's going to be like that. Why are my graphics on fast? Let's put them back to fancy. There we go, that looks much better. I just got to pick a location around here. I'm no idea where exactly. This place is really pretty. We need somewhere where the floor is quite flat, I think. Otherwise, some of the items might push up and group up on the edges of these blocks when they come up to the surface. And I nudge that again. But the idea is we're going to put like an arrow, and then it's going to point to a bunch of signs. It's going to have a message, and then there's a button that Cleo's going to press. And when she does that, it's going to start rapidly dispensing fish up through the ground from underneath, like with lots and lots of dispensers. All of a sudden, there'll just be fish everywhere around her, and that is the plan. It is going to be fairly simple to execute, although it's going to be a little bit tricky to find a place where there's no pockets of like air and stuff under the ground. And what I'm probably going to do is just do some digging around and try and find all of those. But this dinosaur right here is cool. All of a sudden I want to climb it, but I don't have a ladder or anything on me at the moment. So it's time for me to get to work. That's going to involve looking for a location and crafting dispensers, which is really difficult. Actually, over here might work because there's a large space here that's quite flat. That might work. Anyway, I will get to it. So, dispensers, crafting them can be a little bit of a pain. I have had an idea. We're just going to try this out on camera. I've got this feeling like I've overlooked something, but if we do this and make ourselves a heck load of sticks, that should be enough for 3 of them like this. And sometimes I do this the wrong way around, which makes no sense when you have the string like that. We should be able to press Q. Now the thing here is I don't know if it's actually going to land in the hopper or not. I think it did. I think this works. We can craft all of these like this. And they're not all going to go into the hopper straight away. That's not going to happen, is it? Look, I'm starting to pick some of them up, or at least one of them, because the hopper can only hold 5 items at once. There you go. It's picking them up slowly. And I made it so that they point into each other, so when this side fills up, then they'd go onto the other side. Let's see what's happened. Okay, there's a lot more there than I expected. Didn't I just chuck 64 in there? Okay, so it sort of went half and half on each. Anyway, that's just to stop them despawning, so, you know, instead of them filling up our inventory and we not knowing what to do with them, that is like a quick way of crafting. Little pro tip for you there. You could also leave them on the ground, which is what I used to do, because then when you actually craft the dispensers, they keep going back into your inventory. But I thought I'd try something different this time, and it seemed to have worked, which is cool. Well, I finished crafting all of the dispensers, and let me tell you something, I am a complete dummy at this game. Why have I crafted dispensers? When I was making them, I realised that droppers, you know, being a similar recipe, just minus the bow and arrow, pretty much do the same thing. If they're facing upwards into some blocks, they're dispensing items into them, and the items are going to rise up. So I just wasted a load of time. Let's get over there and start work on this, because that is ridiculous. But that is typical me. I'm sure you all know what I'm like by now. Where were we when we last recorded? I cannot remember, but we're back over here at Cleo's area. This place is fantastic, and I'm just getting ready to set up the prank. This is going to be awesome. I do think this is the best place over here. I had a wander around, and I can't hear any caves around here. And if you're wondering how you hear a cave, well, actually you hear the mobs that spawn inside of it. And I don't know if Cleo's gone around lighting up the caves, but I did find a little lava lake. I heard some lava over here. There it is. So that's one thing that we've got to fill in. But down below that, about 16 blocks down, we're going to place all of the dispensers, and that should be out of range of her being able to hear it. And this is just going to be fantastic. We're going to have a massive grid of dispensers. They're going to be under the ground. She's going to come over here. There'll be a sign and a button. Probably have no idea what to expect, and then all of a sudden there'll just be fish everywhere and loads of it. It is going to be ridiculous. I cannot wait to see her reaction, and of course I'm going to let her know that there is something waiting for her on the server. She should have a video up at the same time, and there'll be a link on the screen probably since the beginning of this video, so be sure to go and check it out. I'm going to continue working on this. One other thing I wanted to comment on is that we have 192 dispensers, and I was trying to figure out what kind of amount of them we would need to put them into a square. So I thought, well, the square root of 192 would tell us that, and that is 13.856, and then the number trails off. So it's not a whole number, but it meant that we could do a grid of, say, 13 by 14 or something like that. And this is not, a suitable area because of the little border over the back there for a square. So I've done this as a rectangle. There are 19 dispensers in this direction, 10 in that direction, and that, of course, is 190. That leaves us with 2 to spare. So, I think we're kind of ready to start digging out the space underground. I've got to build a big box down there and then place down all of the dispensers. It's going to be crazy. Well, I thought this was going to be simple. I never really thought it through enough. This is absolutely crazy. This is just a crazy prank. It's going to be quite simple for Cleo. She presses a button and then there's loads of fish all around her. But for me, it is just unbelievable. It took me a while to figure out how to do this. I had to do some tests. So first of all, these dispensers are all facing upwards. And if you have blocks around it like this, it doesn't make any difference to the items coming out of the dispenser and going all the way up to the surface. So because of that, our ceiling height is going to be here. That means every single block above it needs to be filled in. And so the way that I did this is I cleared out a 2 high bit at this height right here, so we could place the blocks and the dispensers on top of them, and then I would go around, I'd make a little hole up like that, and then I would jump up, place it downwards so it would face upwards. And it took me a while to figure that out. You can see I was digging around at the wrong heights over here, and over at this end there is actually a ravine. In fact, there's another ravine down there. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's go and have a look at this thing right here. Massive ravine. We've come in at the top of it. You can see I'm going to have to fill in every single little bit around here with cobblestone, all the way up to just over on this edge. So I got a lot of that from clearing out this, which is good, but there's loads of pockets of gravel and bits like this. They all need filling in, and then somewhere over here there is a ravine below me, and I don't think I'm going to be able to show you because it would be very unlikely I hit the right block. And as I say it, we hit the right block. So yeah, there's a ravine right here. This one hasn't been lit up. Luckily, it's right below where we're digging. If I'd have gone any lower down, that could have been a real hassle. But there you go. And here's another thing I have not thought about. The redstone. We need tons of redstone and repeaters. We need a clock to power all of this. I do not think things through, do I? It's going to take a long time to set this thing up. But for now, I'm going to go and fill in all of these gaps. And we'll be back when we need to do the redstone. So let's jump ahead. I've done a lot of work around here. I've filled in all of the ceiling. That took some time. And now we're ready to wire up some of the redstone down here. So if you have a look here, we've got a hopper clock, except there is no item in it at the moment because there is a little gap above here with a dispenser. There's also some redstone and slime blocks, so from the surface we can activate that dispenser, and it's going to put an item into this, which is going to create a clock, which is going to go in these 2 directions. So we can power the dispensers on either side. And the way I think I'm going to do this is by branching off the redstone like this. So we point into the next one, and we just go all the way across to one end, and then all of these ones right here, they can go off in that direction down to that end and that direction down to that end. And we'll do the same thing on this side as well. We're going to put a repeater there though because of the signal strength from the comparator, and then it'll just be the same thing again. So on these sides, this one will probably like branch into the middle, and then that can go off to the edge, and on the other side as well. But I have put some items into a couple of these dispensers so that we can do a little test. Now chances are here I'm going to run to the wrong corner. No, that's the right one. I can see it's slightly brighter. I do get a little disorientated down here, which is kind of understandable considering. But there is something I wanted to mention quickly. I'm not going to be doing the prank on Mumbo this episode. We'll probably save that for the next one. That's a little bit of a mini prank, more of just a fun little friendly thing to do. And I've spent a lot of time over here doing this, so I think it's fitting that we do it in the next one. Anyway, let's activate this thing. It's going to take a moment. I did have some trouble setting this up because I made a couple of mistakes with the wiring, but let's stand up here, and you can't hear any dispensers, and there it is. Look at that. Oh my god, I cannot wait to see Cleo's reaction to this. She's going to be standing around wondering what's going on, and then there's just going to be fish appearing everywhere. Now, one of the things I like about this is the dispensers. They kind of... There you go, take that. They kind of space out the items a fair bit. If you have a look over here, it's a nice, decent spread with just 8 dispensers, I think, and we've got 192 to use. So I was going to rename some of the items, and I might still do that. And when I say items, I mean the fish, so that they wouldn't group up when they come up to the surface. But it looks like that's not even going to be a problem, and well, it's taken me a long time to do this. I gotta say, I'm just looking forward to the end result now. So all of the wiring has been done. All of these have exactly 134 fish in each, and we've got a little bit left over, which I'm not going to put in the dispensers. The last thing we need to do is to put an item in this one up here. Let's put in a minecart. And another thing that you may have noticed I've done, I put the comparator on this side over here. The reason being that if an item gets into this middle bit here, which it can seem to do, you know, one of these dispensers might just put it at an angle that it finds its way into this middle bit, then when it drops down, it's going to cluster up more items in this side, and then the blinking effect is only going to happen on this side. So with that comparator there, it will stop that from breaking if it does happen, but all we got to do is place a couple of blocks here. Now, I did put an item in there, didn't I? Yes. This thing is really ready to go now, isn't it? We've got to place some signs at the top, and then we've got to fill in our entrance on the side here, and then it's all done. And it has taken me a long time, as I'm sure you can imagine, and I'm feeling quite uncreative at the moment. I had some ideas earlier for what to write on the signs, but I didn't write that down, and now I'm kind of kicking myself for that because I don't have too many ideas on what to write. Let's grab some more dark oak wood. We're going to make a little sign over here. I did also put a fence gate underneath this piston, by the way. That used to activate pistons before or provide an update to them to tell them that they're bug powered. That doesn't happen anymore, which is kind of disappointing. And yeah, I have like no ideas what we're going to write on this at the moment. I will remove my temporary beacon as well. In fact, we're done with digging, so I can do that right now. But I'll give myself a little bit of time to think about what we're going to write on these signs. So here we go. I have one more laugh to add to this thing right here. I have written, I guess what you could say is a little bit of a poem, and when I was a teenager I actually used to write a lot of poetry, and I've got to say some of it was pretty smelly, but I did learn, you know, some rhyming skills and stuff like that. So anyway, let's have a look right here. If you had one wish, it wouldn't be for cooked fish. I made a mistake that gave you brain ache and caused you lots of worry. I didn't have much time to write this silly rhyme, so for this prank you have a Suma to thank, and now I'm just trying to say sorry. Brilliant. And then it instructs her to press the button, at which point all hell will break loose and the fish will come up to the surface. And that's it, we're pretty much done here. That is kind of like the prank ready to go. It's taken me a really long time. It feels really strange to get to this point, but it's going to be awesome to see Cleo's reaction. So like I mentioned earlier, you can find links in the description box to Cleo's reaction and also to all of the other prank videos that we've had back and forth. It has been a lot of fun, and I guess it's kind of like our last proper prank here on the server, which is kind of sad, but exciting beginnings are ahead. I'm also going to be posting a thread on the Reddit and on the G+ community to do with the reset. So if you have any input, ideas, things you want to talk about or discuss with this new map, then that is the place to go to. I'll put links to those down there in the description box as well. There's just going to be so much stuff in that description box this episode. Please forgive me if I forget anything. I've got a couple more things to do. I've got to, you know, tidy up that and remove these chests and remove all traces of my presence here. But there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to leave a like. It will always be appreciated. And go and check out Cleo's reaction right now. That is it from me. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And I'll catch you next time.